Day 30.
Day 30.
I only got one more day to go. Well, actually, no, we just added a day today. So September 1st, we're actually going to go live again first thing in the morning. But we only got a couple of days, and then I get to take a day off, and this weekend I'm sleeping in.
Yeah, got to be done. Because, if anybody doesn't know, Chicago's a little bit behind. I mean, just generally.
I don't know how to take that.
So what time is it for you there, Keith?
It's 7:53 in the morning.
You're doing well for that time of day.
I've been up for 2 hours already, so.
Oh, you're far too perky for that. What's going on? What are you taking?
And Stuart, welcome back.
Nice to see you, gentlemen. Nice to be back again.
You don't even need an introduction anymore. You're just
very much.
Does that mean we can get away with? Oh, it's Stuart. You're right, Stuart.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. I feel honoured, privileged to be invited again onto this amazing platform. So thank you very much indeed for welcoming me.
You're welcome.
To have you.
And today is kind of a freewheeling topic. We're going to be talking about what? How did you put it, Bob?
Where the hell did everybody go? Yeah, where the hell did everybody go? In particular, we're talking about. Okay, so we're going to cover COVID again. Mention that, not the my business is suffering and people having difficulties, general, but also for the marketing people. There's been furloughs, redundancies, companies have come and gone. So your mailing list of all these fantastic event planners, venue people, MeetingProfs, all those people. Well, your list, your database probably has a whole bunch of invalid email addresses now, and the phone numbers are not going to work. So let's talk about that.
So what was the title? Where the hell has my database gone? Was that it?
That's why you're here.
Yeah, come on, Stuart.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yes, where the hell has your database gone? For those people that don't know me, shall I do an intro?
Go for it. Because there probably is one person out there that doesn't know you.
I see Angela's up again, loving your Captain America shield. That's a nice little comment. There you go. I have to
say Keith's got a part-time job. You don't know about your superhero status.
So my name is Stuart Mitchell. I am the managing director of a company called Catch the Mice. Used to be historically a venue representation company. Now stepped into the whole field of virtual as well as real. So I'm kind of a hybrid representation company, I guess. Yeah. Never thought of it like that. Bit of an industry connector.
But you are also someone who has a lot of databases, right?
I do have a lot of databases. A lot of client databases, my own database, yes, all ring-fenced and all separate, but yeah, all very complicated to manage.
And all shit right now because COVID kind of, well, first there was the GDPR, which you were mentioning. So actually, let's talk about that.
GDPR scared the living bejesus out of everyone. We were all led to believe, well, rightly so, there was a lot more good data control. And everyone had this perception that you had to actually get rid of your database almost. Everyone was so scared of what to do with their data that they were cleansing it, but cleansing it to a point where it was almost, I know Keith, I know Bob, therefore Keith and Bob have given me their permission to email them. I know Keith and Bob, that's fine. So they can be on my database. But if I don't know Janet, but I've met Janet at a trade show and she's given me a business card, can I put it on my database? Can I not put her on my business database? I don't know if giving the card gives me permission. So no one really knew. And there was that side of, let's play on the side of safety, and we'll throw that business card out because shouldn't be in our database. And so everyone got rid of the database. That's what I saw. Certainly, I don't know what your experience was.
Well, I think even here in the States, people were a little freaked out over GDPR, and there was the confusion, right? You didn't know what you could keep and what you couldn't. And so over here, people were, to be honest, the privacy laws over here suck. So people were purging their lists of anyone who wasn't a United States citizen, right? Or Mexico or whatever, right? You were just purging everything. So you would be on the safe side. And then I think GDPR came. Okay, everyone starts to build back that database little by little, and then COVID hit. And that was the killing blow. Like we were just saying that I have a database of 9,000 planners, right, that I've built up over time. And I was like, oh, I'd be surprised if 2,000 of them were still good. And Stuart, you were like, yeah, no, you're being really optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got 10% of your database left, I'd be amazed.
Let's just wind it back slightly. So anybody who doesn't know, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. This is you looking after properly personal information. Now, if I remember correctly, I think that was instigated by affiliate marketeers who were just adding names and onto databases and then just spamming everybody with the latest offer and trying to make some money. That then brought forth the GDPR, which then coaxed the companies like MailChimp and other providers to do what's called a double opt-in. I think that's under the American regulations. You have to do a double opt-in. Well, maybe it's some states. Anyway, there's a double opt-in.
California.
California is just one of those places. Yeah. Anyway, so you had to have a double opt-in. So when you say that you're gonna, if somebody hands you a business card, that double opt-in is not. It's not a double opt-in. So you really do have a dilemma. So it's probably a case of no, you don't, because they've only indicated the once. Yeah. Possibly.
It's a very grey area still, and there were so many people that were, quote, experts that were giving consultancy to a lot of venues and clients to how to manage their database. But the reality is that you were so petrified, you threw most of it out. And a lot of people did. It's very foolish.
Yeah, a lot of people did. You know, when couldn't you have, and we shouldn't go into the shoulda, coulda, woulda, but you know, you could have actually just sent out an email to the whole database and said, if you still want to receive these, click here. But none of us did, right? Nobody did. None of the venues that I know did. None of the associations that I know did. You know, so again, they were purging all of those. Fast forward to COVID, which again decimated everything. People left positions, people left industries. You know, how are hoteliers, you know, the people that rely on their databases, and we'll get to the organization side, but like the vendor side, the destinations, the venues, those types of places, how are they building back their databases?
It's really difficult. You're absolutely right. I know that we used to do a lot of direct marketing, and we'd go do email direct marketing and also used like some MailChimp and things like that. And if you have if you have some bad data on your database, which bounces back, you're put in a sin bin. You're blocked, and you can't send correspondence to what you believe is your database. And I guess that's the challenge. And I know that looking at my data, we are being hit heavily because they seem to have tightened it yet further, the likes of MailChimp.
Well, and we use, you know, there's one system that we use for a lot of clients called MailPoet, because it goes right into WordPress, which runs their conference websites. And we actually had a startup pharma, I'll leave it there, that came in, and they're like, here's our database. These are the people we want to invite to the event. So I say to them, I'm like, this is your database, right? Oh, yeah, it's our database. Well, apparently they had purchased that list. So didn't know. We uploaded it. We sent it out. They had about 15,000 people on that list. Well, the second half of those had bounced. MailPoet they not only shut that client down, it echoed across all of our others. They shut them all down. They're like, you're a spammer, I mean, it took me 1 week of talking to them. Like, you can never get anybody on the phone anywhere. I had someone on the phone, and we explained what happened, and they were able to unfreeze the account. But if you're doing things like that, it's not going to go very well for you.
No, you're absolutely right. I see it not only from a client data perspective, but also randomly as a virtual supplier. So now I work with a couple of virtual platforms, as you both know, and those platforms have got safeguards within place, so you cannot spam and communicate through the platforms as well, which is really clever because so if you're using imported data to a platform, in theory that data doesn't have to be cleansed, because as you said, Keith, it could be client data, and you can communicate through the platform to those clients. So most of the platforms that I work with, they limit the number of communications you can send through the platform to avoid spamming and to avoid them being blocked and blacklisted as well.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people on the planning side don't realize is your data matters to other events, right? Because if you're on a platform and you're sending out crap, that platform is going to get blacklisted by Google, by Zoho, by anyone that operates the big mail receivers. Your bad data is affecting everybody else.
Absolutely.
I think how it works. Take MailChimp, for example, something I've got experience of. So they are a trusted mail sender by Google. So your emails won't end up in the spam as an unsolicited email. So they work together. So if you are causing trouble, it's going to be MailChimp, another service like it, that are going to say, no, this is not good. So because MailChimp want to be able to keep sending, so they're going to have to police it themselves.
Mm-hmm. And they're always going to, now they have so many clients that they're always going to err on the side of caution, right? Losing you doesn't really matter to them.
Well, this is the thing. They want to protect their ability to send trusted newsletters, communications of any sort. So they're going to be sort of very protective over what you are up to. I mean, they even stop you from. They're very cautious about including affiliate links.
Yeah,
they really don't like you doing it. So they're very, very cautious because they're trying to protect their business and their business model. So,
and then you just know that all of the vendors that we all work with, right? We're planning events. You're writing to hotels. All those people are gone too. So when it comes to I don't know, COVID did such a horrible mess to everything. We'll try and reach out to a hotel, it bounces back, that person's no longer there. You have clients that are trying to send to their legit databases, right? Ones that they've collected, their members, let's say. They'll send it out, and half the members have moved to different positions and haven't updated, where they are. They've left whatever industry in. So I think we kind of know that databases are crushed and damaged beyond repair. How are people building them back up, I guess, is a direction that might be helpful.
I think you're right. I think it's almost starting from scratch in many respects. And that's quite daunting when you've got so many people that have left the sector, a sector that is hungry for resource and needing resource at the moment. I spoke to a senior account director for one of the bigger agencies last couple of weeks ago. And she said, I can't recruit anyone. I can't find people. She said that I need to get back to where we were 2 years ago. And of the 6 people I've recruited, all 6 are brand new newbies, brand new people into our sector, people that never worked in the sector before. That's petrifying. Not having any product knowledge, not having any contacts, not knowing where to turn for AV, not knowing where to turn for hotels apart from Google. And of course, you'll only pick up those people that are super SEO'd on hotels, luxury destinations, or hotels in Berlin. You won't find those little places, those little niche hotels.
The ones that actually make events amazing, right?
Absolutely.
You know, those little gems, like we're going to be talking to one on Thursday, but those little gems where that just would never get discovered except for databases and right. So yeah, you're right.
Word of mouth, databases, and also some people that are in the know. And I think that's the thing. It's experience, and that's where I'm guessing age. That's a horrible thing to say. Age and experience does count, and you can call upon that.
Well, and if you bring in 6 new people like that, you know, our industry already has a horrible churn rate, right? Simply because people come into the industry and realize that it's not for them. You know, working 24 hours a day for a week and then having a week off just doesn't appeal to some people. So, yeah. Oh my God.
Yes. So, is there a fix? Is there a way of getting over that?
Well,
I guess I put the question out to you. Do you think the next year, 18 months is going to be the year of the exhibition and I'm going to say the business card, can't hold fashion am I, but you know, the scan, the doop, yes, we've scanned, we accept. Or do you think it's going to be an 18 months of fam trips and educationals where you're taking newbies out to show them these places and educate them? Or do you think it's going to be death by PowerPoint and on virtual presentations through Zoom calls or other platforms? I don't know.
I think it'll be easier if you remember, because we're all of a certain age. If you go back to when digital first became a thing, right, and you were able to do online things and collect emails, it's actually going back to that, right? You know, how did people originally build? But now we have some new tech tools, some new tech twists, I should say. So I do think fam trips are going to be a huge part, and I think that fam trips by region will be extremely helpful. Right. So, you know, if you go into, you know, like we're talking to in a couple of days, if you go down into that part of the UK, tour a few places, right? So you can get the planners there, you know, so they're not just going for one venue. You're going to have to hit, you know, a bunch. I think that's one way. I think that, of course, you know, here, Holiday Showcase is coming up, which is a big event here once a year in Chicago, run by Association Forum. Hopefully the people come back and go to that show because it's all venues, it's all destinations, right? You can walk up and down the aisles and find some really neat places, right? And you can do it in an afternoon. So I think that's going to be big. I think that the one place where individual hotels and destinations too, but how smaller independents can do well is take advantage of how cheap Facebook advertising is right now and use that to your advantage and start hitting planners with it. You know, start running ads as quickly as you can because Facebook is dying, right? They're not making any positive changes to their platform. People are starting to leave in droves, but right now it's still effective and much cheaper than LinkedIn.
That is.
I think there's also something else that I think is going to be a massive rise of. It's all those organisations that represent a particular area or region. For example, like Eventit, they're representing an awful lot of different businesses in the area. We've got Visit Scotland, Visit England, Visit Wales, Visit the North, Visit this, that, and that. There's going to be these organisations that are going to, which effectively be like venues and wedding planners and event people all banded together to represent a region. And they're going to get much more vocal and they're going to be much more demonstrative of what's available in that particular area, which is fabulous. This is what they should be doing.
Well, and Stuart, I hate to toot your horn, but relationships, planners that have relationships with people like you are going to be at an advantage to finding cool and unique places because you've been around, you know a ton. And when they ask you, you know, when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, where's a great spot for this retreat? It's only 20 attendees. You're going to have that institutional knowledge.
I'd like to think so, but you're right. But Bob, going back to your point about regional showcases, I was at the CHS show in Leeds about 3 months ago, and I have to say that particular show has I think it's almost in its 9th year now. It was great to see a regional show supported regionally, but now beginning to attract national interest from some people out of the region. I think you're absolutely right. I think there will be a lot of regional showcases, which gives you an opportunity to network in your local area and find new little places. The trouble is, if you are looking for somewhere that's a little bit further out afield, then you're right, Bob. You're right, Keith. It's the likes of me or someone else that's been around a bit that has got that experience and that knowledge to do it.
And I think destinations have to, and I'll give you a quick setup for this. So I was at IMEX Frankfurt many, many moons ago. I haven't been in a long time. But, I had scheduled out my whole week, but then they have the appointments that you have to go on, right? They kind of assign you these appointments and you have to go. And I always enjoyed those because I would learn about places I wouldn't normally go, right? And so I was at the Busan, South Korea booth. That was one of my assigned appointments. So I went. I learned a lot about the city, and I was like, wow, this is really freaking cool. Now, I have never done an event in South Korea. However, I have told 100 people that they'll be talking about programs in Asia, and I'll be like, I would love to do an event in Busan, right? So I think that a lot of destinations are going to have to let people, as long as they're qualified, I'm not saying anybody, but as long as they're qualified, let people who may not have business today in on their little fams and things like that, because it's the word of mouth again that you're going to have to rely on.
You're absolutely right. And we're going back to a sort of 2008 situation, the financial crash, where post-event, there was, again, a lot of changes there. A lot of my databases changed significantly in 2008, 2009. And after that, it was those hotels that had the budget to be able to invite people on fam trips that succeeded. It was the ones which actually tightened their budgets so tight that they couldn't afford any fam trips that suffered horrifically. For almost 10 years, quite frankly. It was almost certainly a 5-year hiatus for them.
Well, it's very similar to when the economy gets tight and people don't have the money, the first thing they do is cut the marketing budget, which means nobody gets to know about the product or service. So it's a very difficult situation. What do you cut back? How do you tighten the purse strings? How do you still market and attract people? Very, very difficult balance.
It's an extraordinarily difficult one, and I think it would be, in a utopia, it would be great to invite everyone on fam trips, as many fam trips as possible. But you're right, there is a churn, and you know what? Am I going to invite a 22-year-old straight out of university that's wanted to go into college, or someone that's younger that's on an apprenticeship that thinks events is all about champagne and running Glastonbury? It's that balance. Do they have business? Are they the right clients, and are they going to stay in the industry, irrespective of whether they stay with the agency? Because if you've invited Johnny to this event and he moves to 3 different agencies, fantastic. I've got that potentially 3 different agencies all knowing about my venue.
It's like a virus.
Yeah, exactly. Move as many times as you want. But it's that initial investment, because it's not cheap to run a fam trip.
No, it's a lot of, there's a lot of investment of money and time, and they're quite costly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it'll be a balance, making sure you've got qualified buyers that genuinely have potential for that particular destination or venue.
See, that's where we might differ a little bit, right? Because again, it goes back to make sure they're qualified buyers. I think that's kind of where you need to, as long as they're qualified, okay. Because again, and then also pay attention to, who they are and who they know in the industry, right? Again, going back to the Busan. Now, granted, I was just in their booth, so they didn't take me on a fam trip, but one that I did a fam to Lisbon a number of years ago. And we actually did have a client that Lisbon was one of the destinations that was under consideration. The client actually ended up picking the UK over Portugal, but I have told 1,000 people about Lisbon. That I thought it was fantastic.
Is that why Lisbon is booming at the moment?
It's all me. It's all me. But so yeah, I mean, I get that they have the possibility of business, but I would lighten that a little bit and say they have the potential to bring business, rather than they're looking for something to put a program at. Because if you're looking for that right now, you're going to be hard pressed, right, to find people that are actually sourcing, destinations like Lisbon. So at least get people that are qualified and could bring business at some point, and get the chatter going again, right? Lisbon was doing all those FAMs at that one time, and that's why they're booming now, right? Because they were working on it 10 years ago. It's like you see it here in the U.S. In the U.S., I can tell you where the great salespeople went, because every 10 years or so, the destinations will pop up on my schedule over and over and over and over, and I haven't been there in years. And that was that sales team 10 years ago that was setting that city up for success. Like Philadelphia. I've been to Philadelphia more times than I care to count lately. And it's because of what somebody did 10 years ago.
Yeah. Investing in the future. Absolutely. Oh, we've lost Keith. Oh.
No, you didn't. I was just, my camera went out of focus and I can't fix it.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. So have we got any let's sort of roll it up a little bit. So we've covered all sorts of things in this.
Everybody's screwed.
Okay, everybody go home. Just buy yourself a bottle and just stay home. Okay.
I'm going to throw something in, Bob, because
yes,
it's something which we are doing. I'm utilising the platforms that I work with to do showcase not only destinations but also showcases on privately owned hotels, or a showcase on a collection of hotels or a collection of suppliers. And that way I don't have to schlep around the country. I don't have to put a carbon footprint by doing Death by PowerPoint in Birmingham, Death by PowerPoint in Milton Keynes, in Luton, to all of these people. I can bring them all together, and I can then also identify and give almost knowledge through view on demand product for education, and back to those newbies that really don't know anything about these hotels or don't even know where the town is that this place is. So actually you can give them view on demand education, which can be done again without the carbon footprint. But more importantly, then if there's engagement, and you can see in the chat or in the downloading of the data, the analytics that you're given on the virtual platforms which I use, I can actually see, oh my goodness, Bob has actually really got interest in this particular product. It then gives me the opportunity to say, Bob's the person I should take on a FAM trip and actually educate him there and then, and spend the money on him, spend the money on the flight, spend the money on the whole DMC experience. And that way you've got a better potential return on the investment for the budget holder that's actually spending the money to invite you over to that hotel to explore that destination. And I think that's my summary about how I see it happening going forward, because I think inviting everyone is just kind of shooting in all directions without any analytics behind it.
Well, yeah, and people haven't got the budget to do that anymore. It has to be, yeah. So it's all very well inviting 1,000 people, and it's exaggerated, but it's still going to be that core people. It's like a website visitors. Everybody says you've got to have thousands of people coming to your website. No, if you've got 10 of the right people coming, that's perfect.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. So that kind of principle also applies to FAM trips. It's all very well inviting 20 people, but if there's only 5 people who are actually willing to spend the money, then I'll just invite those 5.
It's the 80-20 rule. Yeah, it's those 20%, which gives you 80% of the business. So it's trying to identify who those people are. And I think that's the big challenge at the moment, when you've got so many newbies in the industry. Finding them in the first instance, and then qualifying them, really.
Well, that's interesting, because it all comes down to education, doesn't it? Educating the people to what the benefits are, why they should be looking at anything in particular. So VII events with your 3D platforms, I think they're amazing because you can actually recreate a venue and get people attracted into it. And then if they want to see it in real life, well, you know who's going to be the people who spend that amount of time exploring the 3D world. Then go and see it for real.
I think you're right. The trouble with the VII, it's a great platform, it's a great opportunity to do it, but the venue does need budget to be able to do that. So it's right for courses. It's the right product, the right venue. So if you've got a large venue and a venue where one or two events will pay for that investment, happy days. But if you've got a small boutique venue which has got maybe only 20 bedrooms, then modeling it in that sort of detail is impossible, because it would take 20 or 30 events to pay for the return on investment. So
very true. So it comes down to exploiting social media then to actually get that initial ball rolling, as it were.
Yeah.
So did we come to any conclusions?
Yeah, like you said, the world is doomed.
Or is it back to the wild, wild west, right, where we're going to be throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks?
I'm gonna say something now, because I had a chat with somebody that wants to work with me. In fact, I'm not going to name any names, but they were due to be on one of your August events, and we got down the road, a fair way down the road before contracts were signed, and it got to a point where I was getting nervous, and clearly they were getting nervous, because we were on completely different tangents. They wanted to do what they've always done, what the industry has always done. They did this, they did that, they did the other, and they weren't looking at anything different. And I was thinking, you guys are a little bit of dinosaurs in the way you're approaching it, albeit you're happy to pay me. I kind of get that, but I was feeling nervous, and maybe I gave that feeling out, and then we went our separate ways. But I think if you always do what you've always done, you're going to fail. And I think you need to do something differently, and look at what works for you, and try different things. You're right, throwing stuff at the wall, what does stick? And I think it's going to be suck it and see in many respects.
Well, I think, let's take a vineyard, right? Let's take a vineyard that is, that has 20 rooms or whatever, and they're looking, there's so much you can do at the vineyard that is educational, right? Start doing virtual wine tastings, right? Do cooking classes, for free, right? Just have your chef go out and teach people how to make stuff that pairs with wines, and start loading up YouTube with your destination and your, just start cranking it out there. That's a very low cost, you can learn how to do that so that it doesn't cost you a fortune. But the other thing I think a lot of destinations miss is they try and tell me all about their property, right? They try and tell me about their sleeping rooms and their conference rooms and what amenities they have in the hotel, and they don't tell me about what's around it. So even take me on a video tour of the town, right? Show me some of the cool little shops and things like that are around. How close is the closest FedEx, right? The things that meeting planners want to know. And destinations never do that, or venues never do that. They always want to tell me about their ballroom, and their ballroom just looks like any other ballroom.
Every hotel has a function suite, it has a bedrooms, and it maybe has a spa. But yeah, you're right. What differentiates it? And that's something, as a salesperson, I've always done. It's about selling the sizzle, not the sausage.
Gosh, I had the same experience when I was doing websites for holiday jeets in France. Yeah, every property had 3 really old falling down buildings. They had a swimming pool, bit of grass, and they were all the same. There was nothing separating them out. And the competition on the Google search results for a jeet with a pool in France was immense. So what they were doing was selling themselves, all the experience. You can't sell the swimming pool, you can't sell the building, but you can sell you're going to sleep really well because this is a beautiful countryside where it's really quite. You can sell the whole region. And Keith, you're absolutely right. They should be. What if you was to go to a particular place? What's available around it that's going to make your time there so much more convenient than anywhere else?
There is a hotel in Cincinnati we were just at. We did an event not just before COVID, and we were there, and they had 2 bellmen that had been there for 50 years.
Wow,
That's a story, right? That tells me that if they wanted to stay, now there are lots of hotels in Cincinnati they could have moved, but they liked it so much they've been there for 50 years. That tells me a ton about that property.
Can you imagine the stories they could tell on the social media channels? What blog posts they could do in the video interviews?
They'd probably be fired. They'd be fired within 10 minutes.
Well, I would have thought there'd be some kind of vetting going on. I mean, you just go blindly record it. But there's an opportunity to talk to the staff and share the stories about that venue, about that place.
And that leads me nicely on to the person you're going to meet on Thursday. Sam has a lovely backstory. Sam Vaughan from Jussel Court has an amazing backstory of how Jussel was formed into an exclusive use property. So it's those stories which bring it to life, I guess.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, looking forward to having a good chat with her. Yeah, be good.
And Angela in the comments is hitting us up with the all of the venues should collaborate, right? If you are a smaller property, and you only have 20 or 30 rooms, tell me where we can go offsite for great events, right? The area restaurants, the unique places, the
walks and the local attractions. Maybe you stay in a hotel and just down the road of a vineyard or something.
Yeah, we were up at Beaver Creek in Colorado not too long ago. There's a Four Seasons up there, and one of the it's Four Seasons at a ski resort. Great. So it's going to be nice, right? But the cool thing, is the dinners they run using the snowcats, right? That come out and pull up, and you put your whole group on, the back of these snowcats, and they take you up top of the mountain, and you have an awesome dinner. That's cool.
That's
really super cool.
Yeah,
I want to go.
Right. See, now we all just said right there, we all want to go. So, again, that is something, if you're looking for a winter destination, that isn't a beach, go the other way. Now I think attendees are looking for the experience, right? That, they've learned, they've been at home. They know they can have effective meetings doing this, right? So you've got to have a little bit of a cool experience for them to make the trip.
Absolutely, 100%. I think from my summing up, I think you're right. I think collaboration is essential. I think it's absolutely essential. I think so many people have found the benefits of that during lockdown. To be honest, I think if you work with people, there's very little stabbing in the back. it's very, very rare does that happen. I think certainly from what I've seen, it's been very much a collaborative approach. But smaller venues definitely need to team up because they don't have the buying power and the database sort of scenario. Use experience, use the people, and actually use all of your team. I remember I still do consultancy, but one of the things is each part of your team will bring assets, bring strengths to your team and utilize all of those strengths. Sure. So there are people that have got contacts and optimize those and bring them to the party.
From my view, we're going to find the rise of the reps looking after particular areas, like Visit Scotland or Visit the North, Visit Wales. They're going to get more vocal. They're going to be, because they'll have more members, they're going to have a little bit more power. It's going to be interesting to see how they move forward. So I'm looking forward to see what they do.
Yes, if as long as they've got some sort of collaboration, then they've got a bit more budget to play with, so that they can get to more events. And I think they've got to be at certain trade shows. I think there are certain trade shows you've got to be at. Unfortunately, as much as I hate that, you feel like there's a need to be seen at these trade shows. But I'm often reticent to see actually how much return on investment they actually deliver. I personally would rather spend more money on fam trips and taking the right people to the right place and bring the numbers down, but bring the right people in. to the
Yeah,
destination.
yeah.
That's my view.
I'll go with do targeted advertising while it's hot. Use the Facebooks and the Instas of the world to target meeting and event planners.
Good point.
All right, gentlemen.
Digital marketers are the new rock stars.
Yeah, there you go. So, Stuart, we will see you on Thursday.
Absolutely.
Again, we're going to be bringing in a fantastic guest and looking at it'll be actually our first time with a single destination talking about a single venue, right? Which I think will be really cool. People can find us at thebullet-list.com.
Well done. Segued lovely there. You're really getting that good. And also, obviously, you can find us on Facebook pages, namely the Planner Wire page and the Event Planner News page, and also our Facebook group, and on YouTube. We're everywhere now.
All right.
Well, cheers, gentlemen.
Bye, gentlemen.
Thank you for your time.